Webcasting from Kansas, I'm Jonathan Switzer. This is the Roboblog Chronicles. It's the middle of the week. Here's the comments thread. Let's roll. Arthadane said, I just hope Janice won't be the negotiator between humans and Haydenites, preaching humans and aliens should coexist, yada yada, like all the other sagas. I'm pretty tired of that crap. We need an enemy who isn't a sissy in the end. Arthadane? What show do you think you're watching? This is not the Transformers. This is not a simple world of heroic Autobots and evil Decepticons. This is a world where you got jerks on the Expeditionary Force, and you have Ariel trying to talk the Regis into peace. If the Haydenites follow the suit of all the other civilizations that Robotech defenders have encountered, there will be some who do not agree with the policies of the Haydenite leadership of the controlling awareness. And mind you, what we've seen of the Haydenites so far, they all seem pretty bad. But at the same time, we got a very narrow picture of them in the Shadow Chronicles. There's only like one moment in there where you could almost see a sympathetic note of hesitation. I believe there is one moment where you hear a Haydenite sort of regretfully say, but what of the humans? And then, the other Haydenite goes on about how all the users of the protoculture have to be destroyed. In the end, we probably will have some sympathetic Haydenite characters. If we don't, well, that'll be something new for Robotech. But I sincerely doubt that everything's as black and white as it seems right now. Now, as for Janice, is Janice going to be the negotiator? Is Janice going to be the one to tell the Expeditionary Force to go with sympathy towards the Haydenites? No. No, she was betrayed by them as badly as the Expeditionary Force was, if not worse. They personally tried to kill her because she wouldn't cooperate. So she's going to have she's going to have totally unsympathetic feelings towards them, I believe. I think the only character who we know so far who might actually be able to be talked into aiding any sympathetic Haydenite characters would be Ariel. Because Ariel has seen firsthand what this kind of blind hatred can lead to. She might be able to extend that towards her race's former foes. She just to me, she just seems to have that kind of character. Moving along, though. JHC said, so with the addition of Marcus to the cast of characters, will we be seeing Jack Baker anytime soon? Seems like Mr. Rush fills in Baker's role quite nicely. That's assuming that Jack Baker still has the same role. What you have to remember is that in Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles, Jack Baker was a squadron leader. He was the Wolf Squadron leader before Commander Taylor, the guy who got offed in the first act of the Shadow Chronicles. If we see Jack Baker again, he'll probably be a squadron leader taking control of the Wolf Squadron again. He won't be the green recruit. He'd be Marcus's superior officer if Marcus returned to the Wolf Squadron. So it's a possibility we might see Jack Baker again. But of all the characters, the one character he would most overlap with at this point is Scott Bernard, who would be the veteran fighter pilot at this point, the senior veteran fighter pilot. So, honestly, Jack would probably just clutter things up a bit, but, again, if he comes in, it's not Marcus's slot he'd be overlapping with. Question about Maya. At the end of the Shadow Chronicles, she remarks to Marcus that most of her family is with the SDF-3. Does that leave open the possibility for other additional Sterling children? Or was one of her family members simply just off camera on the Archangel? I believe mostly what she means by that at the end of the Shadow Chronicles is Max and Mary are on the SDF-3. Is there a possibility of other Sterling children? Certainly. But when she says most of her family, I think she's just referring to Max and Maria, because the end of Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles leads me to think Dana might be somewhere else and a major player in the next Shadow Chronicles animation. Maverick said, good perspectives on the characters of the second movie. I have to agree that Janice is something of a wild card, especially if you recall, she said it appears not as all as you have foreseen, which means she may have an idea of what the Haydenites are up to. She may have insight into what the Haydenites are up to, but I take that line basically to mean that Janice just knows what arrogant jerks the Haydenite commanders are. They think they have all the answers, and clearly, since they keep saying, this is not as we have foreseen, they don't have all the answers. Marcus, I think, still has a hatred for the Invid. Yeah, you're probably right on that. I think you may see some of that showing his relationship with Scott, especially if Marcus finds out about how Ariel was created. Yeah, Marcus is going to have to work on that hatred of the Invid. As for Ariel, though, she was not created from the genetic template of Marlene Rush, according to Tommy Yoon. That is a plot point from the novels, and one that is sort of implied by the TV series that has been thrown out. Sykes said, I still contend that you could have cut out the SDF-3 bit or replaced it with strange signals and would have served the story better and left an ace of the sequel. It was too much of a tease, full stop, considering we saw so little before they snatched it away. I am in 100% agreement with you, Syke. On the one hand, it's nice to see Rick, it's nice to see the SDF-3 in the Shadow Chronicles, but at the same time, this movie was promoted as revealing the mysteries of where the SDF-3 went, and it just leaves you hanging. And it leaves you back at square one at the end. That's really annoying. Also, I think we have as much chance of seeing the other Sentinels races as Jack Baker and the rest of the New Generation crew. That I have some disagreement with. Syke goes on to say that it seems clear to him that the Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles stuff was conceived after the fact, after the Shadow Chronicles, just to sort of bridge where the Sentinels comic books had been and where the Shadow Chronicles was going. That much is obvious. Clearly they didn't have any of that in mind when they made the Shadow Chronicles feature. But on the other hand, with all of that stuff set up in Prelude to the Shadow Chronicles, I think there's a much greater chance of seeing stuff like the Carbarans, stuff like the Garudans, stuff like Jack Baker, Karen Penn in the next animation. I think the chances are that much higher now that they've put that stuff in the comics. As for the rest of the New Generation crew, I have my own ideas as to who among that crew we might see again, and I will be talking about that this weekend on the next show. So that's it for the comments. This is Captain JLS signing off.